What is the second point? Both the fields are long range. There is one more similarity. Third one, there are some differences are also there. What are the differences? These are the similarities. If you see the differences, we can write the first difference, or in the points of continuity, we can write the third point. So what are the first difference? Electrostatic field is due to a scalar source, nothing but the electric charge. Electrostatic field is due to the scalar point or scalar source charge, but magnetic field is not like that. Magnetic field is due to a vector source called IDL, means current along the length. Due to a scalar source charge, electric charge. And whereas the magnetostatic force or magnetostatic field is due to a vector source called IDL. Is due to a vector source. Called IDL. This is one of the difference. One more difference is magnetostatic field is associated with the angle, whereas electrostatic field is not at all in association with the angle. The expression 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught q by r square clearly says it is independent of angle between the q and r. But here magnetostatic field is dependent on angle, that to be sine. That is one more difference. So what is the one more difference? Electrostatic field is independent of angle. Independent of angle. Between Q and R. But here, whereas magnetostatic field they are dependent on angle. Sine theta. That is one more. And the third difference, we can say that electrostatic field is along the length, or we can say that q1 q2 by r square, E is proportional to 1 by r square. Where magnetostatic field, where E is along the r, magnetostatic field is along the IDL, plane perpendicular to the IDL. The electrostatic force or field along R, whereas magnetostatic force or magnetic field lies perpendicular to the plane containing I and dl. So these are the differences and similarities between E and B, electric field and magnetic field. And we will see one connection between this E and B, which are helpful to see the introduction of the upcoming chapters. Here an interesting relationship between mu naught and epsilon naught. field E and B. In E it is 4 pi epsilon naught, 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught. In B it is mu naught by 4 pi. So if you find the relationship between E and B, it is almost a relationship between mu naught epsilon naught. So how it will be defined? Take mu naught epsilon naught. This is the first step. And I am multiplying this whole mu naught epsilon naught with 4 pi and dividing with 4 pi. So multiply and divide the above equation with 4 pi. This is the first. Let us take. So what will you understand? We know that mu naught is what is epsilon naught? Permeability and permittivity of the different fields E and B. So mu naught into 4 pi epsilon naught by 4 pi. Multiplied with 4 pi, divided with 4 pi. We know that mu naught by 4 pi is equal to 10 power minus 7 Tesla. We know that 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught is 9 into 10 power 9. But 4 pi epsilon naught is equal to 1 by 9 into 10 power 9. So we got this one as 1 by 9 into 10 power 16. We can write this one as 1 by 3 into 10 power 8 whole square, which is equal to mu naught epsilon naught, which is equal to mu naught epsilon naught. What is this 3 into 10 power 8? Speed of light or velocity of light. So 1 by c square is equal to mu naught epsilon naught. C square is equal to 1 by mu naught epsilon naught. Therefore, C is equal to 1 by under root mu naught epsilon naught. This is a very, very important expression which relates the speed of light to the permeability and permittivity of the different media, different fields. So from this expression we can say that electromagnetic, the wave which is generated due to the bombardment or the combination of electric and magnetic fields, they will travel with the speed of light. So speed of electromagnetic wave C is equal to the speed of light. This is the way to prove. This is very, very important prediction did by Mr. Maxwell, Faraday, Lens. As a concludingly, they got this relation, and this relation is helpful in the transmission of electromagnetic waves, which is in the upcoming chapters. So here one problem which is related to the Biot-Savart's law. So the content of the problem is like this. There is an element carrying a delta I current which is equal to delta xi along x-axis, is placed at the origin and carries a large current I is equal to 10 amperes. What is the magnetic field on the y-axis at a distance of 0.5 meters? Where delta x is equal to 1 centimeters. See, this is the element which carries the current of delta xi where I is equal to 10 amperes. When carries the current is like this, field always like this. So in the problem we need not to apply the theta angle because he is asking in the direction of the prediction. So carries the current is 10 amperes. And we should find out the magnetic field at a distance of 0.5 meters from the origin along y-axis. So we should apply the Biot-Savart's law in this case, where Biot-Savart's law is IDL sin theta by r square. So we know that what is I? 10 amperes. DL, a small element of length, 1 centimeter. R, radius at a distance of 0.5 meters. So the expression is dB is equal to mu naught by 4 pi I dl sin theta by r square. Mu naught by 4 pi is 10 power minus 7, we know that. Where I is equal to current, pakka 10 amperes. Where dl is equal to dx, 1 centimeter, it is nothing but 10 power minus 2 meters. By r is 0.5 meters, r square means 5 by 10 into 5 by 10, 25 by 100, that is nothing but 25 into 10 power minus 2. Cancel. This 10 power minus 6 by 25. So 1 by 25 into 10 to the power of minus 6 Tesla. So approximately we can get 4 into 10 to the power of minus 8 Tesla. Current is in the x direction, xi, field is in the y direction, resultant will be in the z direction. So the resultant field will be in z axis direction or direction of z axis. Why? It is delta xi cross yj. So delta xy into I cross j. We know that I cross j is equal to k, where k is the unit vector along the z axis. So k cap, unit vector along z axis. So this is a small information about the problems which are we going to face in Biot-Savart's law. Next concept, magnetic field along the axis of a circular current loop, which is almost an application of Biot-Savart's law. Magnetic field on the surface of a circular current carrying loop. Means a loop is there which is in a circular shape. Along that one current is, some amount of current is passing. So with respect to that, at a point P or R, which is at a distance of x, we should find out the magnetic field. So try to visualize the concept whenever you will get. So this is a circular carrying current loop. Its length is L, nothing but the circumference 2 pi r. If we took a small element here, its length is dl. Total length is L. Take small element of length, that is dl. So take the center of the circular current carrying loop. Expect a point here, and here we are going to find out the magnetic field due to this circular current carrying loop. And this point is at a distance of x. This is equal to the radius of the circle, and this is r. So if you apply the Pythagoras theorem, r square is equal to r square plus x square, because r is the hypotenuse, side square plus side square. So dB with respect to the field, okay, this dB is divided into two parts, dB perpendicular, dB parallel, dBx, dBy. So dB perpendicular, which is dB parallel, and there is an angle difference between the perpendicular and parallel components. So this is along the length dl, and the perpendicular components with respect to the dl are going to be cancelled each other due to the symmetry. So we should find out along the bx and the continuous forms. So we can write r square is equal to x square plus r square. So this is the perpendicular component of the dB, this is parallel component of the dB. They both are separated by an angle theta. So if we sum over the length of perpendicularness, it is cancelled with the dl. So we should find out the dB along the x-axis. So before going to that, we should write the equation dB is equal to mu naught by 4 pi into I dl sin theta by r square. So this expression leads to mu naught by 4 pi into I dl by, what is r square? R square plus x square. This point is important. So now we are going to find out the cos theta value, because it is ideal sin theta. This is the this perpendicularness is going to cancel. So sin theta won't exist here. We should find out the cos theta components, because if this is the theta, the adjacent side is cos. So we should find out the cos theta components. So the summation over the perpendicular components is going to 0. So we are finding the adjacent components. So from figure, cos theta is equal to r by r square plus x square whole power half. So we are substituting this cos theta value in this expression. Let us write this is equation 2, this is equation 1. So dB is equal to mu naught by 4 pi into I dl. So what is cos theta? R by r square plus x square whole power half. It is already r square plus x square is in the denominator. So that's why this whole expression will become r by r square plus x square whole power 3 by 2. This is dB. Along the length, over the whole length, integration. So to find total field, we are getting integration. Integral dB mu naught by 4 pi into I dl into r by r square plus x square whole power 3 by 2. So integral over the length. What is the length of the circular loop? 2 pi r. So therefore B is equal to mu naught by 4 pi I into 2 pi r into r by r square plus x square whole power 3 by 2. 2 pi, 4 pi, 2 times r into r square. So therefore the x component bx is equal, bx I is equal to, or bx is equal to mu naught by 2 into I r square by r square plus x square whole power 3 by 2. And if r is more when compared to the x, r is far greater than x, then we can r square plus x square we can neglect as r square. Similarly equal to r square. So now I am adjusting this whole equation into the terms of r square, we will get the correct form. So if you are substituting r square plus x square is equal to r square, this bx or magnetic field along the x component will become mu naught I r square by 2, r square whole power 3 by 2 will become r cube. So one time. So this whole r square, r cube one time. So therefore Bx I cap, this is also I cap, is mu naught I by 2r into I cap. Therefore, B is equal to mu naught I by 2r. So, this is the expression for the magnetic field with respect to the current carrying conductor at a distance of r. So, how to understand this magnetic field? So, if we stretch our arm like this and curl like this, and this is the finger, this curl indicates the direction of the magnetic field, the finger indicates the direction of electric field. Or if the curl indicates the direction of electric field, finger indicates the direction of magnetic field. So this is the way we can understand the perpendicularness between E and B. So this is the problem which is based on the number of turns to the magnetic current loop. So consider a tightly wound 100 turn coil, means number of turns is 100, of radius 10 centimeters, carrying a current of 1 ampere. What is the magnitude of the magnetic field at the center of the coil? So before going to solve this problem, we should write what are the numbers present in the problem. A coil having 100 turns means number of turns is equal to 100. 100. Radius r is equal to 10 centimeters. Means 10 into 10 power minus 2 meters. Carrying a current of 1 ampere. I is equal to 1 ampere. So what is the magnitude of magnetic field at the center of the coil? So the expression for B is mu naught I by 2r for 1 turn. For n number of turns, mu naught Ni by 2r for 1 turns. So for n turns, B is equal to mu naught Ni by 2r. Mu naught 4 pi into 10 power minus 7, n 100, I 1 ampere, 2, what is r? 10 by 100. So 10 centimeters, 10 by 100 is nothing but 0.1. 2 pi. So the answer is, it is 0.1. This 0.1, 10 times. So 2 pi into 10 to the power of 7 into 1000 to 10 cube. So we can write 2 pi into 10 to the power of minus 4 Tesla. This is the magnetic field for the given radius and number of turns. The next concept is force between two parallel conductors or currents. We know that SI unit of electric current is ampere, but here we are discussing about the magnetic fields. So from this magnetic field, we can derive the unit of current as ampere. Before going to see that, we should know what is the equation for the force between two parallel conductors which are carrying some finite amount of current. For that purpose, take two metal rods of same dimension. This is one more rod. Instead of saying rod 1 and rod 2, it is better to give the name. This is rod A and this is rod B. Their centers, the centers of these two rods are separated by a distance d. Means we can say that the distance between these two rods is d. The current, this means this rod A initially connected to a source, the amount of current passing through is IA, such like that the amount of current passing through this rod is IB. Whenever some amount of current is passing through a conducting wire, which is in the form of a length, then we can expect the magnetic field perpendicular to the wire like this. So I am drawing in the dotted lines. So dotted explains about the formation of the magnetic field around the conducting wires. So this current carrying conductor and this is also current carrying conductor, these both will attract and repel each other with magnetic force on each other. Because this rod is associated or connected to a current, this results a force onto the B. Such like that, a rod B is also connected to a current source. This also exerts a force on A. These two exerts force on each other. The force acting on rod B with respect to rod A is called FAB. The force acting on rod A with respect to the rod B is called FBA. We can apply the Newton's third law of motion. These two forces on each other are same in magnitude but opposite in direction. That's why we can write like this. Here the negative sign indicates opposite direction. In this case, so we can expect a force between these two rods onto each other. So therefore, what is the magnetic field equation? So from that we can find out. So what is the magnetic field with respect to the rod A? BA is equal to mu naught IA by 2 pi d. Such like that, magnetic field with respect to the rod B is mu naught into IB by 2 pi d. This d is the separation between the two conductors. Field along A with respect to B, field along B with respect to A. But we know that the magnetic force equation F is equal to ILB. So therefore, F is equal to ILB. FAB is equal to ILBA. FBA is equal to ILBB. These are the transformation of the equation with respect to the given formula. Now we can substitute this BA from here and we can substitute this BB from here. So this I also will become IAIB and here also I will transform. So now the transformation of the equations, and from this we will check the formation of ampere. So we can write FBA is equal to IBLBA. Similarly, we can write FAB is equal to IALBB. So we know that BA is equal to mu naught IA by 2 pi d. And same like BB is equal to mu naught IB by 2 pi d. So we can substitute these BA and BB values in the both corresponding equations. So when substituting BA and BB in the above equations, so FBA will become IB L. What is BA? Mu naught IA by 2 pi d. So it's like FAB will become IA L mu naught IB by 2 pi d. The same equation, these equations, we can write in a form of order. So such like that FBA is equal to mu naught IA IB by 2 pi d into L, and such like that FAB is equal to mu naught IB IA by 2 pi d into L. So from these two expressions we can say that these both expressions are having same answer, mu naught IA IB by 2 pi d, and this is also mu naught IB IA by 2 pi d. So whatever may be the order, these are in the multiplication. From this we can say that we can conclude that force acting on each other are same in magnitude but opposite in direction. But this is the total force, but the length of the conductor is L. For force acting per unit length, we can say force acting per unit length is equal to small f. So small f is equal to mu naught IA IB by 2 pi d, and small FAB is equal to mu naught IB IA by 2 pi d. From this expression we can see the derivation of ampere also. So small FAB is equal to mu naught IA IB by 2 pi d, and small FBA is equal to mu naught IA IB by 2 pi d. Both are in the same magnitude but opposite in direction. So from this expression we know that mu naught is equal to 4 pi into 10 to the power of minus 7. Let us take the gap between the two lengthy conductor is 1 meter. So such like that IA and IB. So we are substituting these values. So therefore FBA is equal to 4 pi into 10 to the power of minus 7 into IA into IB by 2 pi 2. If currents are 1 ampere each, currents are 1 ampere each, therefore FBA is equal to FAB is equal to 2 into 10 to the power of minus 7 newtons. So from this expression what we can understand, IA IB is equal to FBA 2 pi by 4 pi into 10 to the power of minus 7. Therefore if two conductors carrying 1 ampere of current separated by 1 meter distance having unit length, then the magnetic force per unit length is 2 into 10 to the power of minus 7 newtons. So from this expression we can understand the ampere derivation also like this. If 2 into 10 to the power of minus 7 newtons or 2 into 10 to the power of minus 7 newtons force is developed between two parallel conductors, then current passing through the conductors is called 1 ampere. If 2 into 10 to the power of minus 7 newtons of force developed between two conductors, then the current carried by a rod is 1 ampere. This is the one of the way to understand the ampere. Actual current, actual meaning of the ampere is I is equal to Q by T. Therefore 1 coulomb per 1 second. If 1 coulomb of charge is flowing in 1 second of time through a conductor, then the current passing through the conductor is 1 ampere. So in case of magnetic force or magnetostatic force, we can define the ampere definition like this. If this much of force is developed between the conductors, then we can expect 1 ampere is current is passing through the conductors of unit length. So this is one of the way to understand these related things with respect to electricity and magnetism. There is one problem which is based on the force, magnetic force of earth. The horizontal component of the Earth's magnetic field at a certain place is 3 into 10 to the power of minus 5 Tesla. It is in the order. So, and the direction of the field is from the geographic south to north. South to north is the direction of the geographic magnetic field. At that position, this is the magnetic strength. A very long straight conductor is carrying a steady current of 1 ampere. So, what is the force per unit length on it when it is placed on a horizontal table and the direction of current in east to west direction and south to north direction. So, if this is the case, B was given 3 into 10 to the power of minus 5 Tesla. Current I is 1 ampere. So, he is asking force per unit length on it. What is the force per unit length? So, small f is equal to capital F by L. So, we know that capital F is equal to ILB. Therefore, capital F by L is equal to IB. So, therefore, small f is equal to IB. So, small f is equal to, what is I? 1 ampere. What is B? 3.0 into 10 to the power of minus 5 Tesla. So, the answer is 3.0 into 10 to the power of minus 5 newtons. When it is in the east to west direction, suppose if this is the magnetic compass box, south north, east west, such like this is the magnetic compass needle's position. East to west axis is making 90 degrees angle with the south to north. So, what is the direction of current? What is the amount of current or direction of current in the east to west direction? So, in east to west direction, we can write F is equal to ILB sin theta and sin 90 is equal to 1. The same amount of value we will get. But force here is 3 into 10 to the power of minus 5 newtons. It is so much greater than 2 into 10 to the power of minus 7 newtons. This is the force between two conductors of unit length when they are carrying a unit amount of current. So, when you compare this one is greater than this one. So, 3 into 10 to the power of minus 5 order is greater than the 2 into 10 to the power of minus 7 newtons. So, now we will see what is the direction of current from east to west and south to north by using the equations. So, direction of current. From east to west. When a current direction is east to west, south to north is the magnetic axis. Current direction is east to west, the angle between them is 90. So, F is equal to ILB sin theta or F by L is equal to IB sin 90. Sin 90 is 1 and we will get 3 into 10 to the power of minus 5 newtons of force. So, this force is greater than 2 into 10 to the power of minus 7 newtons. So, we should eliminate the geographic magnetic force direction. So, that is why current direction will be downward. But in case of south to north, so the magnetic field is in south to north direction. The small dip will be there because of the force of repulsion, and electric field is also in south to north, so the angle is 0. So, what we can understand is there is no force, no current. F is 0, small f 0 and I is also 0. So, in case of east to west, current travels in the downward direction, because if this is the case, it is making perpendicular with respect to the south north. We will see the torque on current loop and magnetic dipole. What is the meaning of torque? Suppose if this is a rod, let us assume it is a uniform rod. To bend this rod, we should apply same amount of force on either ends at same time. So, force will be downward. The perpendicular displacement of this rod will be upward. So, force like this. Correspondingly, perpendicular displacement will be upward. The applied force into perpendicular displacement is called torque. In other words, it is also called coupler force or momentum of force or moment of force. So if this is the case, now we are going to see the torque on a current loop and magnetic dipole. Dipole means two opposite charges separated by a finite distance. Magnetic dipole means two magnetic fields or two magnetic poles are separated by a finite distance. To understand this concept, let us have a diagram which is similar to the electric motor or AC generator. These N and S are north and south poles of a strong magnet. This is the north pole of a strong magnet, this is south pole of a strong magnet. Between these two magnets, one armature coil, let us write a name A, B, C, D, suppose. One armature coil was introduced between the north and south poles of a magnet. And this coil has ends. These ends are connected to two brushes, B1 and B2. B1 is connected to positive terminal of the battery, B2 is connected to the negative terminal of the battery. Always charge travels from positive to negative, high potential to low potential. Such like that current also travels from D to A to B, B to C, again C to negative. Positive to B1, B1 to D, D to A, next A to B, next B to C, next C to B2, BT to I. So this is the direction of the current. So when positive charge is traveling through the armature coil, it becomes positively charged, and because the charge is approaching towards the negative, north pole is having high field or high field strength. North pole is similar to the positive charge in the battery or a positive charge in the electricity. So it has high pole strength. Because of its high pole strength, this north pole and this part of the armature coil experience the repulsive force. Because of this repulsive force, see the arrow mark, this arrow mark gives the direction of rotation of the armature coil. So this AD will become, AD goes to this side and BC comes to this side. So like this, a phase shift. The length of this magnetic field or the armature coils part is B, breadth is A, area is AB. Now, when a coil is rotating, it should rotate with respect to a rotatory axis. So that's why we draw a dotted line which cuts exactly middle of the breadth of the armature coil, and this rotatory axis is like this. So this rotatory axis cuts the breadth into two parts, A by 2 and A by 2. Now magnetic force is applied on the length of A by 2 and A by 2 on each side. So F is equal to, we know that ILB. So what is F1? So continue. Here the length of the armature coil loop is B. So that's why F1 becomes IBB, F2 becomes IBB. Both are same. This much is the force applied on either ends of the coil through the rotatory axis, and the displacement, perpendicular displacement in it is A by 2 and A by 2. Therefore, torque is equal to F1 A by 2 plus F2 A by 2. Now what I am understanding is, what we can understand is, this is in the plane loop. When it is rotated, it is exactly shifted from 0 to 180. We are not taking the instantaneous conditions of the 0 to 180, means 0, 30 degrees, 45 degrees, 60 degrees, like that. We are not taking like that. We are just took as a simple phase shift. So in this case, we can say sin 0 to sin 180 it was happened. So tau is equal to F1 A by 2 plus F2 A by 2. So what is F1 IBB into A by 2 plus IBB into A by 2. If you took the common IBB, A by 2 plus A by 2, it becomes 2A by 2 A. So IBB into A. So therefore I AB into B, where A is the breadth of this armature coil, B is the length of the magnetic field or length of the armature coil. So A into B become area. Therefore, IAB is equal to tau. This is very important one. Now we will see the condition when it is rotated through an angle, then the magnetic field lines makes an angle with respect to its loop. Means angle varies from 0 to 180, 30, 60, 90, 45, 120 like that. Then we should apply the vector condition. So what is the vector condition to find out the momentum of force or couple or torque? Tau is equal to F cross R. It is nothing but RF sine theta. So now we should apply the sine theta angle also. Now this coil is under the rotation, means angle is varying from theta is varying from 0 to 180. And we can take a small momentary deflections, 30 degrees, 60 degrees or 50 degrees like that. In this case, torque is, we can write F cross R, and we can write F1 A by 2 sine theta plus F2 A by 2 sine theta. So what is F1? IBB A by 2 sine theta plus IBB A by 2 sine theta. So concludingly we will get IAB sine theta is equal to tau. If you wrote the vector notation of this equation, we can write tau is equal to M cross B, therefore tau is equal to MB sine theta. This is equation 2, this is equation 1. If you compare the equation 1 and 2, we can write M is equal to IA. So torque on a current loop can be written as, or the torque on acting on a magnetic dipole can be written as magnetic moment into magnetic field, the vector product of magnetic moment to magnetic field. So tau is equal to vector product of magnetic moment and magnetic field. So tau is equal to M cross B is equal to MB sine theta. Therefore M is equal to IA. This M is equal to IA is the expression for magnetic moment. So what we can understand from this situation is, this is analogous to the tau is equal to P cross E in electrostatics. Analogous to tau is equal to P bar cross E bar. So in electrostatics, torque experienced by a loop in electrostatic field is P cross E. What is P? Dipole momentum into electric field. So in magnetic field, magnetic momentum into magnetic field. So the contents is same, symbols are different. So this is the expression for magnetic dipole. Suppose if M is equal to IA for one turn, whatever the n number of turns, for n turns, M is equal to N I A. So this is the analogy between the magnetic field and electric field, and torque in the magnetic field to torque in the electric field, and magnetic dipole equation to electric dipole equation. Now we will see the physical significance of this tau is equal to M cross B. So what is the physical significance of this equation? Tau bar is equal to M bar cross B bar. Tau is equal to MB sine theta. Means if magnetic momentum and magnetic field are parallel or anti-parallel, M and B are, first situation, parallel or antiparallel. When M and B are parallel or antiparallel, angle between them is 0 or 180, therefore tau is become 0. That means when magnetic moment and magnetic field are parallel or antiparallel to each other, there will be no torque in the current loop. Means dipole momentum will become 0. Magnetic dipole momentum also will become 0. So this is the one of the case we should see. Second one means when they are parallel and antiparallel, tau is equal to 0, but tau is not equal to 0, maybe a positive scale of value when M and B are separated or deviated by an angle. So from 0 to 180 there are many angles. For these angles tau will be maximum. So if M is perpendicular to B, then sin 90 will become 1. So tau will become maximum. Tau is equal to MB. So torque in a current loop in the magnetic field becomes maximum when M and B are perpendicular to each other. So in momentarily the angle between them is very, very important point to find the maximum torque and to see the minimum torque in the current loop. So these are the special situations we can see. If suppose it is a sin 60, so we can write MB root 3 by 2, root 3 by 2 times of the M into B magnitude. So this is the physical significance of this equation. So we can see. So like this we can understand the torque value. Here the problem which relates to the up to the covered topics. So this problem is a 100 turn closely wound circular coil of radius 10 centimeters carries a current of 3.2 amperes. So what is the field at the center of the coil? What is the magnetic moment of this coil? And what are the magnitudes of the torques on the coil in the initial and final position when theta varies from 0 to 90 degrees? So we will see the contents of the problem. Number of turns N is equal to 100. Radius of the coil R is equal to 10 centimeters. We can write it 10 into 10 to the power of minus 2 meters. Current is 3.2 amperes. What is the field at the center of the coil? We should write down, we should find out the B. We should find out what is B. Next, what is the magnetic momentum of this coil? We should find out the M. And last one, what is the magnitudes of the torques? Tau is equal to. So we know that tau is equal to M cross B. So for that purpose, we should find out B and M initial. A bit. B is equal to, what is B? Field at the center of the coil. So expression is mu naught Ni by 2 pi r. Repeat. See the first problem, what is the field at the center of the coil? Therefore, B is equal to mu naught Ni by 2r. So therefore, B is equal to, what is mu naught? 4 pi into 10 to the power of minus 7. N, number of turns, 100. I, current, 3.2 amperes. Into 2 into, what is R? Radius of the coil, 10 into 10 to the power of minus 2 meters. So it is 2 pi. So 2 pi into 3.2 into 100 into 10 to the power of 7, it becomes 10 to the power of minus 5. Whole divided by 10 into 10 to the power of minus 2, it becomes 10 to the power of minus 1. This minus 1 goes off, plus 1, 1 minus 1, 10 to the power of minus 4. Therefore, B is equal to 2 pi into 3.2, 6.4 pi into 10 to the power of minus 4. We know that pi is equal to 3.14 into 10 to the power of minus 4. Approximately we will get 2 into 10 to the power of minus 3 Tesla. This is the B value, magnetic field at the center of the coil. So next one, magnetic moment. Magnetic moment M is equal to, for n number of turns it is NIA. So we can write M is equal to NI, what is A? Pi R square. N 100 turns, I 3.2, pi 3.14, R 10 power minus 1 whole square. After substituting all these values, so we will get 10 ampere meter square is equal to magnetic moment. This is 10 power minus 2 and 100 get cancelled out. 3.14 into 3.2, approximately we will get 10 ampere per meter square. So next we should find out the magnitudes of the torque in initial and final positions. So last bit in the question, what are the magnitudes of the torques in on the coil in the initial and final positions? So initially theta is equal to 0 degrees. So tau is equal to mb sin theta. Theta is equal to 0 degrees, sin 0 is 0, therefore tau is equal to 0. Afterwards, it shifted to 90 degrees, the phase shift. So finally, theta is equal to 90 degrees. Therefore, tau is equal to mb sin 90 degrees. It is equal to mb. So we have m value, we have b value with respect to the a and b bits. So now we are going to find out the torque values. Therefore, mb, the m value is 10 ampere meter square. B value is 2 into 10 to the power of minus 3 Tesla. So approximately we will get 20 Newton meter. This is the torque. This is minus 3 and 2 into 10, 20 Newton meter. This is the torque at the angle between 90 degrees. If theta is equal to 0, torque is 0. Next concept is circular current loop as magnetic dipole. Whenever in the previous sections we discussed about a circular current loop when it is acting as a magnetic dipole, and the magnetic field with respect to the circular current loop is mu naught I r square by 2 into x square plus r square whole power 3 by 2. So this is the expression for a magnetic field in a circular current loop. If x is much greater than r, so we can neglect x square plus r square approximately equal to x square. So we are neglecting the r square term. Then b will become mu naught I r square by 2x square whole power 3 by 2. It is nothing but mu naught I r square by 2x cube is equal to b. But this expression is not at all in the form of magnetic field. We should get mu naught by 4 pi actually. So for that purpose, we multiply with pi and divide with pi with the equation. Let us say this is equation 1. So multiply and divide the equation 1 with pi. So therefore B is equal to, what is the expression? Mu naught I into pi r square by 2 pi x cube. I into multiplied with pi r square by 2 pi x cube. Pi r square is nothing but the area. Therefore B is equal to mu naught IA by 2 pi x cube. Again, I into A is magnetic moment. Therefore, expression B will become mu naught by 2 pi into m by x cube. Multiply with 2, divide with 2 again. Let us say this is equation 2. Multiply and divide the equation 2 with number 2. So therefore B is equal to mu naught by 2 pi into 2m by 2x cube. Therefore it will become mu naught by 4 pi into 2m by x cube. So where mu naught by 4 pi is the constant in the magnetostatic fields. And this is similar to some E is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught into p by x cube. Similar to E is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught into p by x cube. So we can write mu naught is equal to 1 by epsilon naught, p is equal to 2m. So this analogous will lead to the another results. We will see that. So we got the equations. B is equal to mu naught by 4 pi into 2m by x cube, and E is equal to, it is analogous to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught into 2p by x cube or 2p by x cube. This equation will vary with respect to the equatorial plane or perpendicular bisector. So what is the similarities between this? Mu naught is similar to 1 by epsilon naught. Magnetic momentum is similar to the dipole momentum P. So this 2p by x cube or p by x cube depends upon the electric field along the axis at a point on the axis, or electric field due to the perpendicular bisector point at a perpendicular bisector. With respect to that, p or 2p values will change. Such like that, magnetic field on a plane loop is also mu naught by 4 pi into m by x cube. See here, it is a perpendicular one 2m, plane loop m. Here also p and 2p variable. So such like that, we can change the equations with respect to the bisectors and positions. So this E and B values are changing in the same ratio. That's why we can link these two with respect to each other. If magnetic momentum is increased by twice, electric dipole momentum also increased by twice. So along the bisector or along the point. So from this expression we can say that a current carrying loop acts as the electric dipole as well as magnetic dipole, and its magnetic momentum is equal to Ia. If it has n turns, it is NIA. These are the very important terms which are useful for the problems in the another section or another chapter. So this expression was already there in the electrostatics chapter. We can check these equations also. The next concept is magnetic dipole momentum of a revolving electron. Magnetic dipole momentum of a revolving electron. So we know that in atomic structure, positively charged nucleus, around the nucleus in orbitals, electrons are revolving. So a simple assumed or schematic diagram of this concept is like this. This is the nucleus which contains positive charge, net plus Ze. These are the electrons revolving around the nucleus in a orbit, circular orbits. So positive to negative force of attraction is there. So these two will experience electrostatic force, means an electron revolving around the nucleus experiences Coulombic force of attraction due to the positive charges which are placed inside the nucleus. So we can write Coulombic force of attraction, comma, this concept leads to electrostatic field. So what we can understand is, we know that electric current is equal to Q by T, or capital Q by T. For a single charge small q, total charge capital Q. Here, what is the charge of the electron which is revolving around the nucleus, small e? Let us take I is equal to E by T. Actually, what we are going to discuss in this concept, when an electron is revolving around the nucleus with respect to a positive charge, it possesses some quantities: angular momentum, magnetic momentum, Bohr magnetron, gyromagnetic ratio. These all things are associated with the electron when it is revolving in around the nucleus. These all things we are going to find out under the concept of magnetic dipole momentum of a revolving electron. So I is equal to E by T, where E is equal to charge, T is equal to time. Now what is time? We know that velocity is equal to displacement by time. So time is equal to displacement by velocity, or distance by velocity when it is in a uniform state. So for one complete rotation, what is the total distance traveled by the electron? Nothing but the circumference of the circle, because it is revolving around the circular path. So therefore time T is equal to distance for one complete rotation is 2 pi r, velocity is equal to 0. So I am substituting these T values in this equation 1. Substituting T in equation 1. So therefore I is equal to E by T, therefore I is equal to E by, so what is T? 2 pi r by V. So therefore I is equal to EV by 2 pi r. This is the current experienced, or electric current experienced by the electron which is revolving around the nucleus in the circular orbit. Suppose I into pi r square, Ia is magnetic moment. So multiply and divide this is, let us say, equation 3, the equation 3 with r. So therefore I is equal to EVR by 2 pi r into r. Therefore it is EVR by 2 pi r square is equal to I. So what is this pi r square? Area. So IA is equal to EVR by 2. What is this IA? Magnetic momentum. So we got magnetic momentum M is equal to EVR by 2. For now, just resemble the M with the symbol mu. Therefore, For this situation, we are saying magnetic momentum is equal to mu. Or mu L. No problem. So therefore, we can write mu L is equal to EBR by 2. Now I am multiplying and dividing the whole equation with ME, mass of electron. Multiply and divide the whole equation with ME. So therefore we got mu L is equal to E by 2 into MEVR by M. What is this MVR? Angular momentum. MEVR means angular momentum of the electron. Therefore, mu L is equal to E by 2ME into L. And I am applying the minus symbol. What is the need of negative symbol here? Negative symbol indicates magnetic momentum direction, or angular momentum direction, or direction of the angular momentum is always opposite to the direction of magnetic momentum. Negative indicates direction of angular momentum is always opposite to magnetic moment. So we got mu L by L is equal to minus E by 2ME. This mu L by mu L ratio, or it can be written as like this also. By L is equal to minus E by 2ME, where E is equal to charge of electron, ME is equal to mass of electron. If you substitute the values, we will get an equation like this. Therefore, mu L by L is equal to gyromagnetic ratio. So, charge per unit mass of a charged particle is said to be gyromagnetic ratio. So, what is this gyromagnetic ratio value and the related things? So, therefore, mu L by L is equal to minus E by 2ME, where E is equal to 1.6 in 10 to the power of minus 19 coulomb, 2 into 9.1 in 10 to the power of minus 31 kg. We will get some 8.8 into 10 to the power of 10 coulomb per kg is equal to gyromagnetic ratio. But according to the Planck's quantum theorem, angular momentum is quantized. So L is equal to nh by 2 pi. So according to Planck's assumption, Planck's theorem of quantization, L is equal to nh by 2 pi, where n is equal to principal quantum number, or n is equal to 1, 2, 3, 4, h is equal to Planck's constant, 2 pi is the constant again. So I am substituting this L value in this equation. Therefore, mu L by nh by 2 pi is equal to E by 2ME. Therefore, its value relates to like this. So we are going to find out the minimum values of angular momentum. So for n is equal to 1, the same equation will turn to like this: mu L by h by 2 pi is equal to E by 2ME. So it will be mu L 2 pi by h is equal to E by 2ME. So this will be mu L is equal to, we can just cross multiply the things, therefore E by 4 pi me into h, where E is equal to charge of electron, me is equal to mass of electron, h is equal to Planck's constant. By substituting all the values in this equation, we will get one value. That value is called Bohr's magneton. So mu L minimum, where n is equal to 1, is equal to E by 4 pi me into h, where E is equal to 1.6 into 10 to the power of minus 19 coulombs, where h is equal to Planck's constant 6.625 into 10 to the power of minus 34 joule second into 4 into 3.14 into mass of electron 9.1 into 10 to the power of minus 31 kg. So after substituting all the values, and we will get one value. So finally we will get Bohr magneton value is equal to 9.27 to 10 to the power of minus 24 ampere meter square. So what is the physical significance of this 9.27 10 to the power of minus 24 ampere meter square? That is called as Bohr magneton. So what is the basic introduction for this concept? If any charge which is revolving around the nucleus, it has two types of momentum. First one is spin momentum or spin angular momentum. Second one is orbital angular momentum. So for this orbital angular momentum, we wrote mu L subscript. Spin angular momentum, we wrote S. So these two momentum are very, very important for any magneton or for any revolving charged particle around the nucleus.